Here's Sopranos season 4, episode 10, the strong silent type. Obviously, Tony, if you watch the show, Tony keeps referring to Gary Cooper as the strong silent type, and why can't people be more like Gary Cooper? It's repeated on numerous episodes, so this is kind of like an interesting episode where the one-legged Russian, is the strong silent type, where she basically has one leg and she doesn't say anything, she doesn't complain, she doesn't have self-pity, she doesn't complain about anything, and she just keeps going, she just keeps being strong. And Tony thinks he's like that, but he really isn't, because he is a guy who mellows in a lot of self-pity, and but of course Tony sleeps with her, so it's almost like Tony sleeping with Gary Cooper, and that's sort of like setting up that storyline. Whereas the other parallel storyline, where it's like Christopher, who is going to end up going to rehab, or it's that famous, when they basically try to have Christopher and what do you call it, the seance, and basically it goes awry, of course, and where Christopher is the weak type, but because he talks a lot of times and he's always complaining and he doesn't keep his mouth shut, so it's kind of like the parallel where Christopher just keeps on talking and he keeps on basically complaining about stuff, and he's the one who's going to go into rehab, where he's the first generation, the first world kind of upbringing, the capitalistic Americana kid who has all these problems in the world, where Stefana is from Russia, from a poor country, only has one leg, and of course she doesn't say anything, she keeps on going on, and Tony has such a strong affiliation towards that. There's also this is also almost the future status of Furio and Carmela, about how they're the unacquired romance at the end, and the episode kind of leaves Furio showing Furio cooking alone by himself, and Tony basically making a nice meal, and Tony kind of nuking something, microwaving something, and kind of cooking, they're both of them are eating alone, and sort of saying that none of them are really getting anything out of it, because basically the life that they chose, and because Carmela can't leave Tony, they're both left alone at the end. And so Christopher's in rehab, and he's not dead, and what's her name's going to keep on going, and in the end we're all left alone because we can't be ourselves. That's my review.